this is kind of old news now at this point, but this latest combat pack or whatever they call it for Mortal Kombat, they dropped this update. I thought this was pretty cool. It's Conan versus, and they showed him side by side with Tusk from KI. But the latest combat pack, they said this was going to be the last one. The whole thing with NRS games has been, they've almost been doing like Hollywood fighters, you know? So it's cool just like always just like seeing what the next move or movie that they go to is. Here's the thing that you have to understand, like people are going like crazy about this the past couple of weeks or whatever. NRS games, I feel like since MKX have had a very like accelerated lifespan. And one reason why, you know, and it's usually it follows this pattern, and you can look through the numbers yourself. Evo entrants support this, tournament entry number data supports all these things and these kinds of images and stereotypes. The NRS game launches, and I say this as somebody who played, you know, casually MK9 and Injustice 1. They are typically launched, have a very strong marketing and support budget for them for like 18 months to 2 years. And then after that, on to the next project, and usually the players will follow suit. They tap in really hard for that period where the game is supported, and then once it loses that support, all competitive drive for the game dries up pretty hard. Which, to a degree, is normal too, right? If you think about it. Over time, like that life cycle of the game competitively, it's such a small period of time compared to its contemporaries. For as much as I thought MK9 was fun, I thought MKX was like fun to watch. The truth of the matter is, I think this series this studio's games have always been fighting game products, if that makes sense. You look at like the best-selling games of all time, best-selling fighting games. This is a list, and this is not terribly up to date either. MK11 sold 15 million. The casual base that supports these games and buys these has always hard carried this IP, and it's one reason why it's like one of those mainstream IPs that for fighting games has such a like broad casual reach. It's like it's part of mainstream media, you know? But MK1 from jump definitely was put behind an 8-ball. And even then, relatively, I mean, it's right there with Street Fighter 6. But here's the thing, this game is a year and 2 months old. It's only been a year, which is crazy to think about. That game is not even 18 months old. With all due respect for the players that play them competitively, I feel like they're leaning harder into what they've always been. And it's this Call of Duty cycle style game where, I mean, here, you can just, this was put out by Warner Brothers officially. And they said they're going to focus on 4 gaming franchises moving forward. It's because they feel like their gaming division is falling behind. They're shifting its priorities. Moving forward, Harry Potter, DC, specifically Batman, Game of Thrones, and Mortal Kombat will be the company's priorities. I feel like they're just kind of pushing this game in a direction where it's going to be lean more heavily into what it's always been. And that's less of a fighting game made for competitive fighting game players, more of a product for players that want to play a fighting game. Does that make sense? It's not to say that it doesn't have competitive merit, but it's more like the kind of cycle and the angle that they're pushing the games into. This is going to create an even more accelerated cycle. For context, Mortal Kombat 1 suffered a lot of criticism when it was first released for a variety of reasons, but also MK11 did as well. That's not really new. But one thing that the competitive players have consistently been bitching about is the reduced amount of prize pooling that Warner Brothers and NRS have supported Mortal Kombat 1 with in its Pro-Com series, right? It is a reduction from what it has been in games past, but it's also very, very high. That traditionally is way higher than a lot of other games with way huger competitive community. That said, if this is their angle, right, what I'm expecting is an even more accelerated new product cycle from this studio. So if MK1 is already, they say like, you know what, it's been a year, we're done, and they're leaning even harder into the Call of Duty cycle, I feel like at this point, if you're the competitive MK community, this might work out to where you might be happy about this. Where shit, okay, they're done with MK1, MK2 is gonna come out next year, and the cycle repeats. You're gonna get a year of whatever level of support that is. Tap in for it, you know. You guys are gonna have a, you know, pretty good prize pooling and stuff like that. People are gonna buy it, the reviews are gonna happen, then people are gonna dip in 11, 12 months, and then it's gonna be MK3 on to the next one, which is disappointing to me because I wanted to see NRS kind of go in a direction where maybe they even throw like a third game into that cycle, right? Where at least if that's what it is, maybe we could get something fresh, something interesting, something new out of it. Where imagine if they would have made like blockbuster or like some kind of Hollywood fighter, where all the guest characters that they put in their games in the past 15 years, they put them all in one game, and then more Hollywood characters, and it just becomes this licensing hodgepodge celebrity deathmatch game that no other company could do, right? Something like that would have been really cool to me, but instead, unfortunately, they're kind of going in this direction where I think MK is just going to be, they recognize, casual market, there is some mainstream iconography, and this IP still has like weight in terms of mainstream games media, and casuals are going to buy it every time, even if it's not as high as the sales numbers were for, let's say, MK11. But it just feels like they're going to lean even harder into this direction. When you look at the player base numbers for, this is just online, mind you, a lot of these games are it's well chronicled how popular some of them are on console player bases, so this is not a be all end all, but it's just to give you an indication with PC. And also, some of these games have some issues with their PC ports, like MK9. I don't think you can even like really play anymore like that without insane hoops to jump through. Just looking at these numbers too, there's still players that prefer MK11 over MK1, and they're still tapping in every day, and that's fine. That's cool. This isn't reflective of the whole, but it does kind of show, like, damn, MK1 just did not really fare all too well in the end. And it's kind of reflected, I think, on the casual base, but also especially in the competitive side too. And it's unfortunate because I think when I massed around when it came out, when Omni-Man came out, I had fun. I thought MK1 was certainly more fun to watch than MK11, and even playing it, I can't say I had a bad time. With regards to MK, to me, I don't really see this as like doom and gloom. To me, it's just going to be even more of what it has been for the past, I can say, 14, 15 years. Ever since in MKX and Injustice, when that cycle started, this series has been this way. It's just going to lean into it even more so and be what it always was, even more heavily. Generally speaking, across the board, when you look at all the fighting games, these games still kind of deliver, I think, single player experiences that casual players, people that, again, will never go to a tournament, aren't necessarily trying to be hyper competitive, but they just want to pick Scorpion and Sub-Zero and just do, get over here. They just want to do some dumb shit, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So with that said, I guess, what do you guys think about all this? Is this something that you look at as like a L or a W, or is it like me? You just, to me, it's just, it's kind of more of the same, What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. I'll holler at you guys later.